There's one thing stronger than all the armies of the world, and that is an idea whose time has come. Victor Hugo said that, one of my most respected role models on the planet. And that was my first talk when I was 29 years old, and I was putting together my first talk as a ministerial student, and I was going to speak it out loud because up till then I had always asked the teachers, please don't call on me, I'm not comfortable speaking. And so, I kid you not. And so in this talk, little did I know at the time how many times in my life since then that I would draw upon this quote, that it would be my salvation. It would be the Christ consciousness in me, the hope and glory, that I would hold steadfast to the fact that there is one thing stronger than all the armies of the world, and that's an idea whose time has come. And I would say it collectively, as I did that particular night, and I would say, Connie, you have that idea, Reverend Allen, Richard, Mary, John, and Tom, and all of you are carrying an idea that is this original idea that is yours to bring to the world. I received my download at 5 years old. I was given the calling as I was out in nature, and God said, you will have a message that will play a part in changing the world. I'm sure those weren't words that 5-year-olds use, but it was something that was very clear to me. And then my path would go into traditional Christianity. And I was taught the way of a deep-rooted Southern Baptist, and my biggest takeaway there was that I wanted to model Jesus, not make Jesus the only possibility, but the other thing is that I was terrified to ever speak out, because I kind of got the idea that if you really take a stand for something, you could be killed. And fundamentally, within our soul, each and every one of us that are walking the planet today, we're carrying, in some way, subtle or pronounced, that same energy. That if we are like a Jesus, if we are like a Martin Luther King, if we are a person that really takes a stand for what we believe, then something really, really terrible could happen to us and our lives could be taken from us. But for me, the changing distinction was that unless I stand for what I really believe, unless I publicly live out loud what I value, what matters to me, I'm taking my life away from me anyway. Because I'm killing myself, I'm dying from not being really who I am designed to be. Does that resonate with you at all? And so many people, the addicted and the lonely and the plagued are the people today that are sabotaging themselves because of that very thing. They're afraid that some sense of danger, that something's going to happen to them. And I invite you to look at that this week and see if somewhere that is keeping you from really being in the limelight and that which you are. It's interesting that we were talking about Paris today. You know that the Eiffel Tower, because of its original and its awkwardness, the Parisians were not happy about the Eiffel Tower when it first came into being. They made fun of it. Welcome, my friends, to originality. And now it is one of the most noted signals in the world. On 11/11, when we were gathered just a few days ago, to me, I don't think it's a coincidence that when the AG&T, the Association of Global New Thought Leaders, when we met in Denver, during our meetings at the Emmanuel Church in Charleston, there was a shooting. We meet this week, and then we have the bombing in the most romantic city in the world. I don't think that's a coincidence. I think there's a message there about the one idea that's stronger than all of the armies in the world, and I would say that that idea is the unity message. It's the message of new thought. It's time for new thoughters to come out of the closet and start really living who you are, and stop joining the lower vibration of violence and all the other things that go with that. Part of what I said in 11/11 is that for many years in New Thought, we've said, let us create a world that works for all. We're ready to go deeper. We need to look at, let us create a world that works through all. Because if it's working through you, your decisions are going to be different. How you model life is going to be different. Your choices are going to be different. Let me give you an example. How many of you heard for the first time in your life when you came into unity that your God was for you? Wasn't that amazing when you heard that? I'd never heard that before, right? And you come into a unity, a science of mind, a new thought center, and you're told, you know what? God is for you. And you go, what? You don't mean it. You know what? I've heard all my life that God's angry at me, mad, judging me, disappointed, ashamed. You know, and if I just hand over my wallet and all my credit cards, I can make peace. You know, that's what I'd heard all my life. And you hear this teaching, God is for you. And so many people, their healing, their changes, their choices, you just catapult to the next level. But what we learn is in that high and in that freedom is we don't often sustain it, right? And so we teach another fundamental value is that God is through you. And when you step into that, that's why I today can stand up and do a talk, because I know it's not the personality of Temple Hayes. It is God through me that can speak words that I get out of the way and allow to happen. It's through you that allows you, God through you, that allows you to move through your life even though you might recently have lost your child. It is God that speaks through you even though you go through experiences in your life and you don't know how you made it, but you're very clear that you've made it, and the simple answer is because God through you made it. It is the Christ within us that is our hope and glory, right? That we allow the infinite wisdom of the universe to happen through us, and we cannot have that experience without being changed. Fundamentally, spiritually, and every other way. Yes? Now, you might ask me, what have we been missing in New Thought? Thank you. Well, you know, first of all, it's important to recognize that New Thought, there's nothing new about it. It's the most ancient wisdom since the beginning of time. Look at Socrates, Plato, all the great orators on the planet for centuries and centuries. It's New Thought, okay? None of them were on Super Soul Sunday. It's New Thought, okay? So, that being said, New Thought was birthed in the late 1800s, the movement that we know as unity and science of mind, because people had forgotten what innate natural connections to God were. And so these great leaders took a stand, and they stood to remind everybody of God is for you, not against you. You are able to achieve great things in your life. You can be healed. You can be revealed. All can be well. New Thought was brought forth for those very reasons. But the missing of New Thought is that people started looking at it from an absolute point of view. Everything in life is all in divine order and all is well, no matter what, no matter if the side of your car just got hit by a transfer truck, everything is in divine order and all is well. New Thoughts, people started representing New Thought in a way of absolutism instead of relativity. And so thus was born a movement of metaphysical malpractice in that we weren't teaching people intelligently what New Thought really stands for. Are you with me? Are you okay? You're with me? All right? Okay. So that was part of it, is that we had this great teaching, but we didn't know how to share it. And many people that said that they knew how to share it did a disservice to us, because that's not what New Thought really says, right? Because Myrtle Fillmore was healed from tuberculosis because she admitted that she had tuberculosis. But then she stepped over here and she admitted that it didn't have to be true for her. Okay? There's a very distinct difference. When another disservice is when we look at what's going on in our world today and we don't want to speak to other people about it because we go, oh, I don't want to be negative. What's going on in our world today is negative. That's an intelligent statement. And yet, with anything that happens in your life that's of a negative nature, you can approach it in a positive light. You see? So you're not being negative by going, I'm disappointed that this is happening in one of my favorite cities in the world. You're not being negative, you're being real. You're being like a human being in a real suit that has intelligence. And you move from that space and say, but I'm not buying into that because I'm carrying the one thing stronger than all the armies of the world, and that is an idea of oneness and connection and possibilities. Yes? So that's that. Jesus did not look at people and say, oh, you're not sick. Oh, you're not really a leper. He didn't say, oh, what you're feeling isn't really real. It's not really real. No. He said, your faith will make you whole. You meet from a condition that you don't have yet in order to shift the current circumstances. And we don't ever shift the current circumstances if we don't allow ourselves to call it what it is. Now, I look back now, and many years ago, since 1997, I've been seeing the Eiffel Tower, and it's meant many different things to me. I've written about it in my book. But now I think it may be something very, even more dynamic in that, psychics gather from all over the world to be under the Eiffel Tower because they say it is the strongest signal on the planet. And so what I'm going to take this to mean to you on this day, 11/15/2015, that this is going to be the signal that the world needs, that from this day as we move forward, there will be dynamic and profound change. Can you wrap your head around that? That's what I want to hold. That's what I want to hold. And I want to hold that, and I want to know that, and I want you to pray that, and I want you to feel that, and I want you to hold that with me, because if 2 or 3 are gathered in thy name, it shall be done. And we have a good crowd here today. So let's do our inner and our spiritual work, and knowing how to approach this so it can be transformed. A woman came the other night to 11:11, and she said to me, thank you for coming out. It means a lot to me that you do that. And I say, well, there was a time in my life where coming out and living out loud, it was like a healing. It was like a healing. And every time, as Edgar Casey would say, every time you voice something, you're healed by the number of people you share it with. And I said, but now it's so much more than just a healing, it's a responsibility. I owe the world a responsibility. And that's what I'm saying to you. You owe the world a responsibility to really live your message, not just one way on Sunday, but 7 days a week. And not hold back in any particular way, but to express what you really feel. There's a cute little story of a big mouse, a mama mousie, who has these little mice. And they're hanging out, over by St. Pete Beach, and all's going well, basking in the sun. And all of a sudden, here comes this huge, large, big cat. And so as the big old cat's approaching the little mice, the mama mouse goes, whoop, 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 whoop. Well, the little mice go, and the big cat goes running off. And mama mouse looks at baby mice and says, here's life's most valuable lesson. We all need a second language. Yes? We all need a second language. I've laughed with many of you through the years, and I've said I'm bilingual. I speak English and I speak Southern. And I've said if you hear a word and you've never heard it, chances are we just say it in Anderson, South Carolina, leave it be. But I also, what you don't know about me is that my mother is of French descent. Her last name is Vermillion. And in that energy, I've always been drawn to things of European nature. And my elective, I'm so filled with emotions today. I'm so excited. I'm like Katerina. Maybe I should move where she wasn't standing. My elective of language was French in high school. And I loved it, and then went on to work for 6 years with a French company, and they spoke more French than they ever did English. And what was fascinating to them about me is that I could read French better than some people that grew up with French could actually read it out loud. And yet the interesting thing is, because I did not ever have an opportunity to speak it that often and continue to through in my life, then I wasn't fluent with it. You know, I could read it, but when it came to speaking it, I would hesitate. I didn't feel comfortable or confident enough to talk a full conversation. And the part of that I think is interesting is that's true for all of you that read metaphysics, read literature of metaphysics. See, I think that unity is your second language. And I think the way you become fluent with the second language is that you use it all the time. And you use it out loud. And when we have events going on all over the world right now, as we do, never before is there a better time to speak unity language, to really speak it, to declare it, to say it, and not to join the lower vibrations. I learned a tremendous message from my partner many years ago, as she had a life-threatening disease called cancer. And what she learned on that journey, BB learned on that journey and on that search, is that she needed to make choices, new choices in her life, that her life would no longer be threatened. But what she taught me is how she never said the word cancer. We called it the C word, the C club. And the reason is not because that wasn't what it was, but because of the vibration that people hold when they hold that word. When you tell somebody, oh, I've been diagnosed and I have cancer, they go, the energy just goes down, because words have power. They have tremendous power, yes? So what I'm asking you in this process, as you are out being more fluent with metaphysical language, is don't use words like terrorist, don't use words like terrorism, and don't say the word ISIS out loud. Don't speak it. These particular things don't need any power than they already have. Yes, so we use strong words like peace, like knowing, like truth, like clarity. You don't join that vibration because you're feeding it. You're feeding it. And the interesting thing is that you're feeding it from a powerful consciousness called Jesus Christ, the Buddha, Martin Luther King. And you need to come from another consciousness and stand with words that you know are effective and have meaning and are life-altering. Yes? It's so important. It's so important. And we want to get passionate. And we want to get back into that space of, this is what I stand for. We are united. This is what has meaning. Don't name words that are electrically charged across the planet. Use your own fluent language. The light of God surrounds us. Use the words you know, while at the same time being aware that that other layer is going on. There is a story of a woman that is climbing and hiking a big mountain, and along the way she is about to trip, and as she's going down she hits her eye and pops out her contact, and she has blurry vision, and when she looks up on the mountain she can't see that well, and you look down she can't see that well. It's not good. And so she says to her fellow team members, she said, I've lost my contact and I can't see. And they look all over her clothing, they look around her and they don't see it. So she didn't really know what she's going to do. And then of course she remembers. She's fluent in prayer. And so she says, Dear Lord, God, you made the mountain, you made the sand, you made all of nature. You are all-knowing, you are infinite. Help me. I need to see this contact. Please bring this contact forward. And in a moment, one of her fellow travelers that's coming up to join the others says, has anyone lost a contact? And she said, oh my gosh, that would be me. That would be me. And he said, well, come over here for a minute. Let me show you. There's an ant that's carrying the contact. There's an ant that's carrying the contact. So her father is a cartoonist. He draws this beautiful image of this ant with contact on it. And the words say, oh, dear Lord, I don't know why I'm the one having to carry this thing. I can't eat it. Okay, I mean, I don't know what I'm going to do with it, but I'm carrying it around because I was told to carry it around, and this is the way it's going to be. I don't know why you and I are the ones that have the idea that can change the world. I don't know why you and I are here at this time in our world to fluently speak unity, put on our big pants, and stand for what we believe. I don't know why we're the ones that have to carry it, but I happen to know we're the only ones, as much as I can see in wisdom and intelligence, that can. So I'm asking you to stand for what we need to do and get passionate and get going and know the truth of what we're ready to do. And don't call me political, because I am a spiritual being immersed in spiritual law, and humans are not innately made to ever kill their own. Amen, and so it is. God bless you. Our ushers